Hey everyone, welcome back to my Calculus 1 series. In today's lesson, we'll be going over limits at infinity and horizontal asymptotes. Now I know this is a topic that we have briefly covered in a past video. However, I wanted to dive a little more deep into it because this is something that will be tested and is taught at universities. So let's start off with this statement right here. Let f be a function defined on some interval. In this case, it's from a to infinity, and the limit as x approaches infinity of f of x equal to L. If we were to draw a little graph from this, what we can see is that as this arbitrary function moves to an x value that is larger and larger, let's say we draw something like this. As it goes to something larger and larger, let's say it approaches this value of L right here. Sorry, these lines aren't straight, by the way, because I'm freehanding everything, but let's say this is the value, and we'll say that this is y equals L. So what we could say about this graph is that as the values for this function y equals f of x, as the x values are getting larger and larger, we're getting more and more closer to this y value of L. Now we could flip it around and say the same thing as the limit of f of x as x approaches negative infinity equals L. This would look something like this. So in this case, with this new constraint right here, the function might look something like this. So now we could say that as we take x values that are getting smaller and smaller right here, the y value of this function is slowly approaching this line of y equals L. Now the reason I'm showing you both these graphs and these conditions right here is because there's a definition that comes from them, and I'm going to write that right now and we're going to talk a little bit about it. So here's the definition, and this is the definition for a horizontal asymptote. So if we read through this, it says that the line y equals L, this special line, is called a horizontal asymptote of y equals f of x if either one of these conditions is satisfied. And like I showed you above, both these conditions are demonstrated graphically right here and right here. So if, as we take x and we get arbitrarily large, this y value approaches this specific one value, let's say in this case called L, or if we take the opposite of it and we say that x gets arbitrarily small and we approach this y value of L, in both cases we can say that that line y equals L is called a horizontal asymptote of y equals f of x. Now this is important to know, especially this definition, because from a given function we're able to find the horizontal asymptotes by algebraically manipulating the limit. So to take an example, I'm going to write down a sample problem and we're going to see how we can solve this problem by applying what we just have learned. So an example problem might be given something like this, where you have this function f of x and it equals this, whatever we want to call this right here, and we are asked to find the horizontal asymptote of this function. Now we can do that by applying what we've just learned. If we see that the value as x approaches infinity, or as x approaches negative infinity, goes towards a specific value, then we can call that value the horizontal asymptote. So let's do that right now. So let's apply the limit as x approaches infinity first to this function. Now if we try plug in infinity right now, it won't really work because we don't know what to do with that. We can't just say, oh, 3 times infinity and then minus infinity and this, that. So we kind of need to algebraically manipulate this function. As we know, we could see that both of these have a common factor of x squared, and what I'm going to try to do right now is get rid of that common factor. So we actually have a property that helps us solve these types of problems, and the property goes as this. If we have the limit as x approaches infinity of 1 over x, meaning that infinity is going to get plugged into here, we can say that this limit is equal to 0. And using this property, we can solve these types of problems. The way we can apply this property is by trying to get all of the functions in this sort of form right here, in the form of 1 over like something, whatever it be. So I'm going to try to do the same thing here. I'm going to try to do that by factoring out the highest power. In this case, it's x squared. So let's go ahead and do that. So now that I've factored out x squared right here, I see that I have these two common factors and I'm able to cross them out and get a simplified version of this function. Now my mistake, I didn't carry the limit over, but we would have it right here. Let me write that in. The limit, let me erase this too. The limit as x approaches infinity of all this. So now that we have this simplified function, we see that all of the small inner functions are in the form of something over this variable, and we can start to apply this property right here that we've learned. If we go back to our limit property laws, we know that if we have one big function over another big function, we can kind of distribute the limit. So right now we have this. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to distribute this limit to the top and the bottom, just like we learned in a few lessons ago, actually. So I'm going to get the limit as x approaches infinity of the top, the numerator, meaning 3 minus 1 over x minus 2 over x squared. And this is all going to be over the limit as x approaches infinity of the bottom, the denominator. Now again, using our limit laws, we can see that we can distribute this limit even further by giving it to each function. So let's do that now. So now that we've distributed this limit, we can see that we have these small limits that we're able to compute. So we know that the limit of this constant from the limit laws video, the limit of a constant is always just going to equal to the constant itself. So the first limit right here would evaluate to just 3 itself, and this bottom limit right here would also evaluate to just 5 itself. Now this next limit here and here, I said that there is this property that we can use, and we're going to be applying it because it's in the form of 1 over a variable, or a constant over a variable, and we have this x going to infinity. We know that it's just going to equal 0. So these two top limits that I've outlined in green will both be equal to 0. So minus 0, minus 0. And likewise, we could say for these two bottom limits, they'll also be equal to 0 because of that property. So plus 0 and plus 0. And once we evaluate this, we end up getting 3 over 5. So that's half of the work done because we've evaluated this right here. We've evaluated as x approaches infinity. So we can say that 3 over 5, the line y equals 3 over 5, is a horizontal asymptote. But the question asks us to find all horizontal asymptotes. So let's go ahead and do that by checking as x approaches negative infinity. So once again, we have this limit, except now x approaches minus infinity of this function, and we're basically going to take the same steps. We want to factor out the highest power, so let's go ahead and do that. So now that we've done that, we're going to cross out the common factors right here and here, and we're going to simplify the function. Now we are going to distribute this limit to the numerator and denominator of the function. And like we did in the other problem, we are going to distribute this limit into each of these smaller functions as well. So there we go, we've distributed everything, and let's start evaluating these limits. As we had it in the first problem, these two limits stay the same because it's the limit of a constant, and we know that rule that the limit of a constant will just be the constant itself. So we can confidently write that the first two values will be 3 over 5. Now on to evaluating these other limits right here and here. So as we had this property for when x approaches positive infinity, we have the same property where x approaches negative infinity. So I'm going to rewrite it here. So we have the limit as x approaches negative infinity of 1 over x. It's still equal to 0. And the reason it's like this is if we think of the graph of 1 over x, right? It goes something along the lines of this. And over here, it would go something like this. And it has these two asymptotes, one being here and one being here. So both lines, y equals 0 and x equals 0, are asymptotes. And if we think about it, the x value, right, we're sending x to negative infinity, which is here. So let's take x close to negative infinity, and we can see that this graph slowly approaches 0. And likewise from the other side, if we send x to positive infinity, we can see that this graph approaches 0 as well. So that's a simple way that I remember both of these rules right here, that 1 over a variable when that variable is going to infinity right here is going to equal to 0. So using that property, we can evaluate these limits the same way. We know that this limit right here and this limit right here are both going to equal 0 because they fall under that property. So this will be minus 0, this will be minus 0. And likewise for these two limits right here, they're both going to equal to 0. So we're going to say 5 plus 0 plus 0. And again, we come out to the same line, which is y equals 3/5. And this analysis actually makes sense because we've seen that approaching from both sides, x equals positive infinity and negative infinity, we both get this same vertical asymptote of 3/5. And I've drawn it out here using a graphing calculator. The blue line is the y equals 3/5 line, and the red line is the function itself. So as we can see, as we approach, x is going to negative infinity, this function in red slowly approaches this line of y equals 3/5. And likewise, as x approaches infinity, we can see the same thing. Now, one little thing about vertical and horizontal asymptotes is horizontal asymptotes can be crossed, as we see here. However, vertical asymptotes will never be crossed. There is a mathematical explanation, and you can figure that out algebraically too. However, I won't be going over it in this video, but I'm sure you can find it online somewhere. Now for the last topic of this video, we'll be going over infinite limits at infinity. And essentially, it's the same thing as we've been doing the whole time. I mean, limits can't really approach too many values. They can either approach these constant values or they can approach these infinite values. So just like it sounds, I'll give a definition, but essentially it's just a limit approaching infinity at infinity. So here's the formal definition for it. So here's the definition. Let f be a function defined on some interval. I forgot to mention the interval, but let's say it's a to infinity. And then this infinite limit at infinity is denoted like this. So the limit of this function as x approaches infinity is equal to infinity. And like the title says, it's an infinite limit at infinity, meaning we're going towards infinity with our x value, and our y value is going towards infinity as well. This can be rewritten in a few different ways actually. So we can say that the limit of f of x as x approaches infinity equals negative infinity, or as you probably guessed it, the limit of f of x as x approaches negative infinity can be infinity. And the third way we can write this is the limit of f of x as x approaches negative infinity equals negative infinity. So these are the four ways to write these infinite limits at infinity, and I'll show you graphically what they all mean, but they're pretty straightforward if you understand what a limit is. So here's the graphical representation of all of them. If we're looking at as x approaches infinity, the limit of f of x also approaches infinity. This green line is basically f of x. And as we can see here, as x approaches infinity, as we get larger, the y value of the function also gets larger. So there will be, the larger the x value is, the larger the y value is. So we can't say that we approach any value of y. So therefore we say that it goes to infinity because it's increasing and increasing. Likewise with this definition, as x approaches positive infinity, the limit of f of x approaches negative infinity. So again, with the x values we're increasing. However, the y value as the x value increases, the y value decreases of the function, and it will continue to decrease as long as we keep increasing x. So therefore we say that the limit of this function approaches negative infinity as x approaches positive infinity. Now with this third graph, the limit of f of x as x approaches negative infinity is positive infinity. So we can see here that the x values slowly go towards negative infinity. However, the y value of the function keeps increasing. So we say that the limit as x approaches negative infinity, which is here, of this function f of x is equal to positive infinity because we can't really put a cap on the y value of f of x as x gets smaller and smaller. And lastly, for this last visual, the value of y equals f of x, right here I forgot to mention it, gets smaller and smaller as x goes towards negative infinity. So again, we see that the x's are going towards negative infinity, which is here, and the y value of the function keeps decreasing and decreasing as x decreases too. So therefore we say that the limit as x approaches negative infinity of f of x is equal to negative infinity. So that's it for limits at infinity and horizontal asymptotes. Hope you enjoyed the video. If the video has helped you out with anything, please leave a like and comment as to what it helped you with. As like usual, if you're new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video.